Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it is that you're listening
or watching
this latest episode of TurfCast podcast with me, Joe Redmond, and my good friend Simon Townley. How you doing, mate? You all right?
I'm very good, mate. You?
Yeah, I'm not bad. You been up to much?
No, mate. Just trying to get fit again.
Usual. You got some football nets behind you. They're for you.
Yeah, mate. I do a lot of kicking.
Yeah, fair enough.
No, the little lad's a goalkeeper, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And the other one's going to be a star striker, obviously. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll, like I said, you will see Simon's nets behind him. You'll see his lovely conservatory. You'll also see that my hair, it's getting lockdown vibey again. So, Simon, you're a hairdresser. What's the latest? When can I get my hair cut?
2nd of December.
Well, that's the legal answer. Yeah. With you as my friend, when can I get my hair cut?
Today, if you want. No, technically, we're in the same bubble before people kick off. No, I don't. Whatever. I don't know. We'll sort it out. But I'm sure I can get you, mate. No problem.
Yeah, I'm sure you can.
You can't say it on air because the clients listen to it. Kieran Phillips will be ringing up. You're fit. You're in.
Probably, yeah. It's one of them though. You can't. You're sort of like semi-retired from salon now, anyway, aren't you? So you're going to be doing it. With your footballers and your mates and stuff, and your big end clients, so probably not Kieran Phillips. So what's the crack? How are you going to be doing it?
I don't know yet. Just I haven't announced it officially what my plan is yet. Because I mean, if future might be that, but at the minute it's trying to get fit with. Obviously, people haven't probably seen it, but I've got this big metal cage on my leg at the minute, so I just got to get that off, and then I'll get back to planning.
So you need to get some like hairdresser fitness levels back up.
I need to be able to stand. That's a start. Okay. And I can't stand.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Right. Fair enough. As you can tell. Oh, go on. Sorry, you're showing me.
Just for the YouTubers, and if you're not listening, you're on the podcast. Get over to YouTubers,
and you'll see Simon's leg. Simon, it's the cage. His caged leg. I don't think you have seen that. You know, that's the first time I've seen that. I don't think I've seen it. No.
See you.
I remember you having one on before when you were about 18, 19, 20. I don't think I've seen it this time. I
haven't really announced it. I mean, everyone's going through their own shit at the minute, aren't they, with COVID? They're either ill or work or anything like that. So I thought, I'm not going to bother people with my issues.
Fair enough. If it were me, I'd be like, look at me, everyone. I got a bad leg. Give me some attention, please.
I wasted all them fucking sympathy tokens in June when I did my femurs, mate. I've got none left.
You wasted them from birth, I think, to be honest, mate. Yeah. Just before we move on, I do want to say that we are, of course, sponsored by Pitch Sports. The banner is at the bottom of your screen. Now, if you haven't already, please do go and check them out. You can download it on the Google Play and the App Store, and it is basically a fan hub where all fans of all different clubs, there you go, just as Simon is doing now, all different clubs can go on the app, chat to fans of the same club, of other clubs, make predictions, things like that, and pick lineups, and even answer questions that I put up once a week. This week's isn't up yet, but it will be up. There you go, Simon. He knows what he's doing. Perfect. It's logged you out, though. You need to log back in.
Yeah, no, I just didn't that. I just could have got a new phone.
There you go. Log back in. Come on. And the new video will hopefully be up by the time you're listening to this. I'm going to record it hopefully after I've done this, but I'm a little bit busy at the minute with house stuff, blah, blah, blah. I know I've mentioned it briefly on the podcast and that, so I'm a very busy man. And hopefully we can get it done and I'll remember, basically, because that's what it is. When I'm busy, I'm not too busy to do things. I'm just that busy I forget. And I think you're the same, aren't you? You just get so busy that you get so transfixed on one issue, you just forget about all the other ones.
Yep.
Anyway, moving on. You might be able to sense a bit of a better vibe about me, especially this week. There you go. Simon's still on his phone. But obviously we're in a better mood, and there's an obvious reason for that. The Clarets have got the first win of the season. Burnley 1, Crystal Palace 0. Go.
Well, I kind of felt it. Do you know what I mean? I think that I'm not just saying it on behalf of me. I think I'm saying it on behalf of the town. There was a buzz as soon as the day came and everyone were like, do you know what? I think we can win. I think we might get a result. I'm hoping we can get a result. But as soon as that lineup was announced and Zaha was missing, I was like, it's written. It's written in the stars.
It weren't even Zaha for me. It was seeing Jay and Chris Wood up front and Ben Mee and Tarky in the middle. As soon as I saw that, I was like, yes, that is the team, Sean. I was actually in my kitchen because I was working. I actually started celebrating. I'm like, yes, that's the team I wanted. I was celebrating like we'd scored a goal. Then I seen that Zaha were out through COVID, and I was like, well, no excuses. To be honest, if anything, I didn't get excited when I saw that Zaha was out. I thought, oh, shit, the pressure's on a bit now. No excuses, we have to win. But obviously, in the end, it worked out for us.
Yeah, I was buzzing, mate. So from that sort of moment, then that's when I thought, right, this is it. Now, I only got to watch the first 25 minutes initially because I was meant to be working at 5:30. So I managed to blag it till 6. So I got to watch 25 minutes. So I managed to see the goal. I didn't have to cope with the second half pressure, but the TV was on in the other corner, so I just kept glancing over. But I have watched the highlights and sort of, I don't know. I mean, once you get, we mentioned it the other day, didn't we? Once you get into that mentality of losing, it's very hard to get out of it. And I think the second half showed that mentality slipping back. Yeah, but we coped.
I think if we'd have started the season well, we'd have put that game to bed. Yeah, we'd have continued to push. But because of the way we started, and as you say, I wouldn't even necessarily say it's the losing as a mentality thing. It's the pressure because they know that they have to win this game now. And it's a case of, right, we've been so shit and now we have a chance. We cannot let that slip. So they start making decisions because they're under pressure subconsciously that they wouldn't have made in an entirely different situation. Obviously, that's an entirely different debate. Obviously, I know you love that sort of shit. But because they're under pressure, they're making different sort of decisions. And that decision was to sit back, further back, and further back, which then just obviously invited pressure. And as Robert Benson says on the fan reaction, which you'll hear in a minute, I was shitting myself for pretty much 75 minutes.
Yeah, it was. I watched it afterwards, obviously, but I knew the score, so I watched it with a different set of eyes, which I'm glad I didn't have to watch it live, looking at the pressure. But just the mistakes that were being made were nerve mistakes, were they? Like we said, the mentality of nerves, and Dwight doing that back pass was a bit of trying too hard sort of thing to just keep the ball moving instead of just holding it. Dwight usually is the favourite for me for holding on to that ball and making a decision. And then the Gudmundsson shot, I think more games under his belt, he wouldn't thought, let's just leather this in net like you usually do.
I think that was a fitness thing for me. I think 9 times out of 10 he takes a touch because he had all the time in the world. I don't know why he just hit that. Take a touch, set yourself, bury it. Job done.
Do you know what I thought that about taking a touch? I understand why he did it first time because that's one of the things in it on Sky Sports. You're damned if you do, you don't if you don't. You miss that shot. They say, oh, I should have hit it first time. You take a touch and you score it. Everyone's like, oh, it's perfect. But like I say, you take a touch and miss it. Everyone's slating you, saying, oh, I should have just hit it first time. Put his foot around it. Pace was on the ball.
It's one of them that we're. It's with the pace being on the ball. I think you're more likely to do that in a situation where you're under a bit more pressure. And the pace is on the ball. He didn't need to do much. But with all time in world, take a touch, get it on. I'm going to say get it on your favoured foot. He did hit it with his favoured foot, to be fair, but get it like better set and then just roll it in the net, run away, point to your ass, land it back tattoo or whatever, and job done, game over. But a lot of holding on, and there's a lot of games where we go as Burnley fans where we hold on and we're doing that, and a lot of the times we end up conceding. Even in season 7, it happened so many times, and we were just sitting back and ended up conceding. But we have got better at that now. And we as Burnley fans should trust them. I think it's obviously different this season, but I think we should trust them a bit more when we're holding on like that because they are getting better at it, and they've shown that they can do it last season and the season before, second half of the season before, and they've done it again now.
Yeah, I like how they like with it. I think I don't even think Gudmundsson necessarily made the wrong decision. I think it was just like a confidence or a tiredness. I can't even make it because the keeper had no idea. The keeper gone wrong way. The keeper was like collapsing on his knees trying to get back on.
Lack of match fitness. I think match sharpness. I just think if he's played 10, 15 games on the bounce rather than constantly being in and out of a side for injury, I think he probably would have scored it.
Well, this is my point that I made in it. Like in the last 2 weeks now, what I want to see is the first team creeping back in, but it's the consistency of that first team playing, and exactly what you're saying there about Gudmundsson. But equally, Jay and Rod, let's go on sort of the positives of it. Jay and Rod and Wood, sorry, up front, unbelievable, mate. They were just sort of bouncing off each other. You could see the sharpness. I think Dash nailed it for me, where he said we've probably been relying too much on Barnes for the lack of game time he's had previously. But what a finish, mate! What a finish! That was a finish of a man who scored 20 goals, not scored in 7.
Well, because he knows how good he is at the end of the day, and the majority of Burnley fans, should I say, people who listen to the podcast, I think, all know how good he is. And you don't score 14 goals in the Premier League for the last 2-3 seasons if you're dog shit like people say he is. But obviously, I want to talk about a stat that I saw. I think Dave.
I'm just going to ask you then, what was the stat? But go
on. Chris Wood and Sam Vokes are now level on 102 Premier League appearances for the Clarets. Chris Wood is seen as a donkey. Sam Vokes is seen as a Burnley legend. Premier League goals: Sam Vokes 17, Chris Wood 36. So there you go.
The chances that he misses is what's criticised, but like I've said on the previous 2 or 3 podcasts in a row now, it's the fact that he's in them. Is available for them chances to happen. I think it was Shearer said it when I was a kid, and it's always resonated with me. It's when you're not getting the chances you should worry, not when you're missing them.
Yeah, and we weren't getting any chances with Barnsley up front. Like I can't think of any chances that Barnsley's had that he should have scored it last 6 months because he's not been getting there. And again, I don't want to slag Barnsley off, and I did say it in my brief appearance in this week's fan reaction. I think we have rushed him back in. I think I'll carry on. I think we have rushed him back in. From the hernia operation, because I think we've said it before, the hernia is there. I don't want to go into it too much again. That's why I'm not going down the Chris Wood route too much this time, because I've said time and time again on this podcast, he is the man to play up front, and I've said time and time again, he needs to play up front with Jay Rodriguez. Now, I am going to do a bit of humble pie to those of you that disagreed with me. Told you so, because they played one game together and we were class, and he scored the goal. And J Rod, we look so much better with him inside, mate. So much better. He's just, at the minute, he's just head and shoulders above Ashley Barnes. They're two very different players. I think the problem with Wood and Barnsley is they're too similar, but Wood is the better version of him. With Jay, he comes deep. He acts as the number 10, whereas obviously Wood is the number 9 in them roles. And then is the link between the midfield and the attack, and that's what we've missed.
Absolutely. The pre-match on Sky Sports where they actually spoke about us and not the Southampton game was Eddie Howe, and he said on it there, he said that I'd rather play against Wood than Barnes any day of the week. He says, but Wood is more clinical. So you've had a game when you play against Barnes, and I think that certain games are made for him. But when you're sort of like playing on an even keel as we are now, you're probably not after scoring sort of like points in other ways, like getting free kicks and getting throw-ins and sort of being a headache. You're after actually playing football, and Palace is one of them games where you can match them and beat them, obviously, as we did. So, like you said, when you're playing City, I still want to see Jay and Wood continue because I want consistency. But they're the kind of games where you see Barnsley really come to it because he's just a pain in the ass to deal with for them kind of defenders.
Yeah, I want to talk about Ben Mee as well.
Yeah.
We've talked about Woody, we've talked about Jay, both class. I want to talk about Ben Mee as well. It's no coincidence that since he's back, and I don't think it's just him, but it's him and Tarky playing together. It's not coincidence that since them two have been back, we haven't conceded, 2 clean sheets in 180 minutes of football? Obviously the 0-0 against Brighton and the 1-0 against Palace. And Ben Mee was absolutely immense once again.
Yeah, he's class, mate. Like I said, it's not just necessarily his ability, it's what he brings to you mentally in the team, the confidence that you have in him being next to you. The back five, mate, it's the best back five we've got. There's no two ways about it.
Easily. Obviously a few people might say they prefer Bardo with Loughton, but we've had that debate before. I think most people know that we prefer Loughton.
He's as well, mate, but I still prefer Taylor.
Yeah, it's horses for courses, though, isn't it? I think there's certain games where I'd have Bardo, certain games where I'd have Louts. But that's a different debate. But Ben Mee, fantastic. Tarky played well as well. I think he was probably the lesser of the defenders, but I'm not saying he played bad at all. I just thought Ben Mee were class. And I think what it is, like you say, it's the confidence as well, having Ben Mee next to you as Tarky and vice versa. And Ben Mee, I think I don't know if I said it on last week's podcast, but I've said it to you recently. I might have said it, just in chat or on text or whatever. I think a lot of people were like, well, when we first announced Ben Mee as captain, we're like, well, we're having him as captain. He don't really shout and stuff. But I think it's fair to say that with him coming back in the side and that defence looking far more organised, maybe we're just not seeing him shout. Or maybe I think it was you made the point when I did mention this. He just leads by example, because he's there next to you and playing so well, it makes you want to play well and play in a more organised fashion.
No, mate, I think you've nailed it. That's a great point. You just got to look at it, mate. When you're a centre back and you've got sort of like someone that you're not used to or you don't trust, you mentally got an eye on where they are. Do I need to cover for them? Do I need to? You can just concentrate on your own game when you know the guy next to you can do his job. And all four of that back defence all know that they can trust each other. Where, it depends what you sort of see in the defenders and what you want from them. But that back four know each other inside out and they can trust each other. And I think, like you just said, then it makes you be able to concentrate on your own game if you can trust that person.
Yeah, definitely. And also part of the back five, Nick Pope, another brilliant game from Pope. And obviously the main point is the save at the end. The Pope, the Redeemer save where he comes out, smothers. And you know what? I went on a Palace podcast page this week.
The right one, or did you call it the wrong one?
No, I'm. You know what? I'm reluctant to say the name. It's his podcast. Because I forgot it again.
The Nest.
Back of the Nest. That's it. Not the Eagles Beak. That's the other one. Back of the Nest. So I went on there and he tweeted a picture of the save the day after, and he put still dwelling on this miss and like an angry face. And I was like, it weren't a miss. He saved it. Benteke didn't do much wrong other than not put the ball in the back of the net. So, but I didn't answer him. I just went on comments, and all the Palace fans were like, "Mate, to be fair, that's a class save. He should be England number one." So people are starting to see. But anyway, I just want to chat to you about Nick Pope. He were absolutely immense again, and there's not many people that would have made that save. I think the only other person I would have trusted to make that save was Tom Heaton.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. We've been so blessed with the talent of goalkeeping we've had to go from Tom Heaton to replace anybody after Tom Heaton. It is going to be difficult to bring in anybody. But Pope's sort of like making that save exactly right. It's very Tom Heaton-esque, in it. It's sort of like rush out, make yourself big, make them make a decision. And there's no way in this world that he thought, I'm going to save this with my left arm because it's going that direction. But it's the mentality to panic the striker and just do it. And do you know what? I always worry. I always think people, when they've been to international duty, they kind of come back and have a bit of a bad game. But he seems to have come back with a load of confidence, as Nick Pope, since that. When you look at pre-England and you look at post-England, I think he's come back sort of knowing that he's got a chance here for this England number one.
I reckon so. Well, like you say, he's not gone out thinking, he's hitting it to our left arm. It's the fact that he's there straight away. Before Benteke could even think, Pope's in front of him. And then Benteke's just going to make a panic decision, like you said, just get anything on it, rather than having chance to pick where he's going. And it's just some people. I think a couple of Palace fans did say, "Oh, it's a fortunate save because it's just hit him." It's hit him because of what he's done. If you think that's a fortunate save, you don't know ball, mate. You do not know ball because that's a class.
You don't know goalkeeping. Goalkeeping's a completely different skill set entirely, mate. How many times do you hear commentators say he's in the right place at the right time or whatever? And that's not something that's luck in the game of goalkeeping. It's a skill that you learn yourself. Like, what position do I be in when that striker gets the ball? And within a millisecond of Benteke getting that option to shoot, he was smothering it, mate. And that is what was special about that save. Because he's not exactly rapid, is he? Let's be fair.
No. So there you go. We've spoken about the main four that played really well. Jay, Wood. Yeah. I always get a bit of stick for saying Wood played well, but his job's to score goals, and he scored the goal that won the game. And that's why he was in the man of the match poll. And so there was Jay, Wood, Ben Mee, and Pope. Who was your man of the match? You don't have to choose any of them four. You could choose anybody, but who was your man of the match?
It's got to be Pope because of the magnitude of the two saves. It wasn't just one save, it was two saves out of them for me.
Would you pick anyone else on the pitch?
Just trying to think now. Ben Mee for his presence, just his simple sort of presence about the game. The headers, mate. How hard did he jump for some of them headers against, two big centre forwards? He weren't fazed by it, considering he's played 2 games now. He looked like he'd been playing all season. I think you've got to look at that perspective as well. It's a close one, mate. The whole team deserved a bit of credit. It's easier to pick players that play bad than it is to pick players that play individually better. Yeah.
I went for Jay, to be honest. I just thought he was just class, and he made the difference going forward, because that's what we missed against Brighton. I think if we'd have played like that against Brighton going forward, we'd have won that game as well, because Brighton weren't scoring. No way they were scoring. But they had so many, I want to say chances. I don't mean clear-cut chances, but they had so many chances to build play, but we didn't let them because of the defence, and that's what we're doing again now. We're not letting teams build the play. But it was Jay that made the difference for me. He was the reason why we won that game, because of him being the link-up play between the midfield and the attack. But obviously then you could say that we won that game because of Nick Pope's save at the end. We won that game because of Ben Mee's superb defensive display. But if you want your say on the man of the match, then give us a follow on Twitter. We do tweet the poll out. We do tweet the poll out every time we win or draw or get a good draw. 0-0 at Brighton, I didn't tweet it out. It's the first one I've tweeted since the Millwall game. That's how long it's been. But the fans went for Jay Rodriguez, 39% of the votes with over 300 votes. So there you go. Jay Rodriguez got it on that as well. Yeah, but there you go. Yeah, what we're going to do next. That's it. Fan reaction. Now, this week, we did a fan reaction. We do it every single week now. If you want to be on the show, all you have to do is record yourself. And when I say record yourself, I mean film yourself, chatting about the game, and just send it to us via email. And if you're struggling to do it on email, I know some people have, Stuart and Robert Benson as well, you can do it via Twitter DM. I would prefer it if you could do it on email because you can send longer clips and stuff, but I'd rather you do one than not do one. Shout out to Robert Benson, by the way. It's good to see you getting involved, Rob. I know you're a fan of the podcast thanks to Sam and your time in hospital together. But it was good to see you involved, mate, and I appreciate you getting involved. And another shout out to another new face as well, but it wasn't a new face as such because Joshua Hoare, I think that's how you're pronouncing it, or Hare. I don't know. It doesn't sound right when I say Joshua Hoare, so I might be wrong. He sent me an audio clip of him doing it. Now, if you do want to just send audio clips, I'll include you in the podcast, but obviously I can't include you in the fan reaction show because that's a visual thing that goes on YouTube and Facebook. But if you want to do audio ones, I'll put you in the podcast and do it that way. But this is this week's fan reaction, and you might see a little cameo from yours truly at the beginning.
A win! Bloody hell, I forgot what that felt like. Hi everyone, this is obviously Joe. I'm from TurfCast. I don't normally do the fan reaction, or should I say I don't normally appear on the fan reaction because it's for the fans, and obviously I have a platform of TurfCast and stuff like that. But recently, obviously you'll be aware, none of us were able to do the watch along for the Crystal Palace game, which is obviously shitter because we obviously won. But I personally haven't been on a watch along for 2 or 3 games now. I think it's even 3 or 4. Because of working and the silly kickoff times, absolute killer. And you know what? It's not even just the silly kickoff times. I could probably book the day off because I'm self-employed. But when they change the date of the kickoff so close to the actual kickoff, you can't book time off work, can you? So they're absolute killers. But yeah, going into the Crystal Palace game, that's brilliant. That's more like it. That's the Burnley we know and loving it. That's what we played like last season and the season before. And the season before that when we finished 7th. So apologies, I'm actually working now. But yeah, just going on to the game, like I said, that's a Burnley we know and love. Strong at the back, good in midfield, and taking the chances up front when we get them.
Wow. That's all I can say is wow. Where the hell did that come from? I wasn't expecting that performance at all. Missed the first 15 minutes again due to stupid kickoff time. But blown away. That's the Burnley we remember from end of last season. At it, 1-11, at it, pushing football, wanting the ball, the passing. Again, wow. I know Crystal Palace have been going well, but wow. What do you say? What do you say? J-Rod, massive difference. Just that little link-up play to set up Wood for his goal. Brilliant. It's what we've been asking for. Barnes can't do that. As much everybody loves Barnes. He's been a class player for us. He really has. But he can't do that. Where do we go? Where do we go? Our first win. Yeah, we've got City, we've got Arsenal, we've got Everton coming up. But play like that, the confidence was there. Everything was there. It was brilliant. Couple under caution. Wow, what a save by Pope near the end as well. Hurt himself doing it, but wow, what a save. Just absolute reflex. Pickford's not going to do that. Pickford's never going to do anything like that. Southgate, get your head out your arse. And as for Dash, Mr. Dash, thank you for listening. I know you won't admit it, that us fans help you make that decision, but thank you. Up the Clarets.
Fucking get in. What a win.
Not a fantastic performance, but did what we needed to do. Defended phenomenal. Ben Mee and Tarky. How Southgate, that clown, can justify not giving him a chance at England setup is beyond me. Absolutely fantastic from the pair of them. Nick Pope, again, terrific save there at the end to make us hold on. Didn't create much chances. I mean, we hit the bar, Goodmanson hit the bar. I thought he played really well. Jay's just Jay. We just look a 10 times better side with Jay in it. Play the ball to feet. Create more, gets in them pockets that we need to open teams up. You know, a lot better option than what Barnes and Wood are. I thought Wood did all right, you know, alongside him, running on for the flick-ons and finding a gap in between the defenders. So, you know, not a fantastic performance, but overall, you know, solid, and we did what we needed to do. And finally got the win out the bottom three, and we onwards and upwards now. Tough one Saturday, City away, you know what I mean? But who knows? Football, the way at minute is, we lock down results, some funny results are being thrown up. But we can be proud of what we've achieved tonight. Got that first win under the belt. Pressure off a little bit, and onwards and upwards we move on. Onto City on Saturday. Up the Clarets, get in there.
Wow. I don't know about you fellow Clarets, but I was nervous towards the end there. Commentator 10 minutes ago said this is going to be nervous for 10 minutes. Well, I'd already been shitting myself for 72 minutes. Been to many games like that. Normally we let one in towards the end of the game. Cricket field end, as usual. Pressure. And we usually crack, but good defence, good defensive performance. Ben Mee, of course. Nick Pope, fantastic world-class save towards the end, and pretty good performance all round, apart from his kicking, which is still a bit of an issue, certainly as far as good old Gareth's concerned. But that's the win we needed. We've played 5 or 6 good teams, I would say, this year. This was the game we needed to win, just to establish ourselves in, if you know what I mean, the lower half of the division. So it's onwards and upwards, and with J-Rod and Chris Wood up front, I think that seems to be the answer for now. And the midfield pretty much, hopefully, will pick itself as long as Johan gets a bit more match fit. Josh and Westy in midfield. In the central midfield seems to be the answer, and the defence is back to as we know it. Thought Daichi was quite humorous after the game. He expects that kind of performance from his men. Backs to the wall, bodies in the way of everything, and heading everything in sight. So let's hope we can get some confidence there, pick up a point at City. Who knows, they're not doing all that brilliantly. And then we'll get 3 points again the next week.
I haven't done this before, but I thought I'd give it a crack. What a relief that is. Still, I don't think the best we've ever performed, but it feel a hell of a lot better after that result. 3 points, big 3 points out of the relegation zone. Again, ahead of that run of games, it's massive for us, but as much as I'm really happy with the result, I still feel we've got so much more to give going forward. 2 or 3 times in the first half, there was 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s, just that one ball through, and the game would have been out of sight. But I think it was Goodmanson missed 2 or 3, and Brady missed a couple in the time he was on. Just that killer instinct going forward would make a world of difference for us. But as I say, we can't be disappointed with the result. Performance-wise, defence was solid. Nick Pope was absolutely world-class. That save is up there with Tom Heaton's from Ibrahimovic for me. So, like I say, can't complain. I thought the midfield was much better. McNeil, great going forward. Again, questions going back, but he contributes so much to the team. You know, you can't ever expect him to not make that squad. Westwood was solid. Brownhill again, as you'd expect. Yeah, like I say, I think Goodmanson had a good game. He missed that chance, but I just think particularly from the wings, just that killer instinct was still lacking. Going to let us down against some teams, but like I say, massive 3 points going forward, and the only way is up from here. Not expecting much against City, but teams in and around us now, that's a real statement to them, and hopefully going forward, we can start climbing the table.
Right, so big shout out to everyone who got involved. Like I said, big thank you. There was a bit of a cameo from me at the beginning, and as we were just saying to Simon off air then, it's because this week we didn't have as many as we usually do. Now, I don't know if it's because people like to mourn. So obviously when we shit on it, people are like, fucking joke, and they want to send the thing in. So people didn't really feel like they had much to say this week. That's fine. Shout out to Neil Layfield, though. He tried to do it, but he couldn't do it because he was ill and he'd lost his voice. So we would have had more, but Neil was ill. But please, if you do enjoy that thing, the fan reaction, and you want to get involved, then just do it. It'd mean the world to me, and it really helps as well. Like I said, big shout out to Robert Benson for doing it for the first time. Big shout out to Joshua Hoare, and of course, big shout out to regulars. Stu.
I just want to say to the people that have done it and have done it in previously, how much I enjoy it. I think it's one of the best sort of ways to look at it, because I was having our opinion, but I like the passion behind it, especially the rawness, because it's usually instantaneous after a game. And I know it's going down really well with the listeners, because I'm getting people phoning me, like Roland phoned me about it when he was driving home, saying he absolutely loved it, because I pre-warned him saying, listen mate, I've got a new thing, you're going to love it, and he did. He buzzed off it. So yeah, absolutely, it's one of the cool things. So get involved.
I like it, and I everyone's got their own little personality as well. You can sort of like, you see Stuart this week made me laugh because he didn't know what to say when wow. What else do I say? Wow, and he just kept saying wow, and at the end, I think he realised he said wow about 15 times, so he just started laughing. It was brilliant. I was watching his thing while editing it, laughing my head off, and obviously Kieran going, fucking get in there, and I was like, yes, lad, that's how I felt at full time. Brilliant, and it's amazing to see. So yeah, if you want to get involved, please do. It don't take a lot. I do all the hard work. All you have to do is film yourself chatting. Email us at turfcastpodcast@gmail.com. If you're struggling because the file's too big or whatever, or you struggle with emails, then just DM us and we can sort something out where we can do it a different way. One thing I want to chat about before we quickly have a Man City preview, because obviously it's getting to the time when your lad's going to be home from school, so I do want to rush it. Jay and Vidra today have signed contract extensions, or should I say the club have triggered contract extensions in their contract. Surprised at Vidra. I've not watched the interview. Someone comments on the page saying Vidra's interview, he says he really likes it here. He's not going to come out and eat shit, and he didn't want the club to do it.
Gutted they said give me an extra year.
But I'm happy, but slightly surprised to see that Vidra's has been extended, because again, it might have been a case of Dash thinking he didn't really want him because they don't use him. But I guess again, you do need the backup.
I think just to clarify the situation, because people might read it as, we've given him a new contract, but it isn't that, is it? Like you said, it's an activation of our option. It had nothing to do with them. Yeah. So we still don't know the extent of the happiness of Vidra being a bit part player. But Jake getting another year is fantastic. I do think that's a short-sighted way to deal with it as usual. I don't want to get into another Jeff Hendrick and half the team leaving situation as this season started and not replacing them. Yeah. I personally think that we could be doing better with Jay's contract. So maybe I should say, like, in the nicest way possible. I think that these are the type of players that, what is he now, 30? He's proven at every single level he's played with us. His loyalty's obviously there now because he's come back to us. I'd have signed him down 3-4 years, mate, and sort of seen him out here.
So I thought you were going to say he deserves 100k a week because he's that much of a legend. But obviously you talk about length. But yeah, I kind of agree with that. He's just turned 30, hasn't he?
I think so. Yeah. So I want him signed down, mate. You know what I mean? He's a local lad. I've got understanding that he's got no desire now to move again. I know his missus is from here as well. So I think just get him signed down, because I don't want to be losing players like that to monetary problems in a couple of years. You know what I mean? If he's only got another summer. So he'll finish this season, and then he's got one more. Yeah, it's not really dealt with the situation. It's just delayed it, and I think let's get the people like that signed back up. Vidra, extend it. Understand that one.
Good point. That I never looked at it like that. I was like, it's staying another year, but you're like, this time next year we're going to be the same boat again. So yeah, good point. Football club, you shite. No, I'm joking. Vidra though, surprised at Vidra, but again happy. I think he's a little bit younger. That's a guess. I think he's a little bit than Jay. So, I don't know. Again, it's a similar sort of issue, though. What worries me is we don't know where we're going to be in 2 years. We could be in the Championship. We could, we could easily be in the Championship. Fingers crossed, obviously, we're not going to be in the Championship. But we could easily be in the Championship. And if that is the case, then they're not going to re-sign again at that point. Whereas if we'd signed them down now for an extra 4 years, like you say, then we'd have got some decent money for them both.
Exactly. And 100%, by the way, Vidra is 28, I think I just read. If he's not, he's 27, but he's 28. And then if you do, the worst situation did happen, because let's say it got carried away with ourselves, we're just 1 point out of the relegation, I think. We're still in a fight. If we get relegated, he's the type of player that you would be signing up in the Championship to try and get you promoted again. There's no two ways about it. He would be our main boy up top with someone like Wood or Jay, or if you could keep hold of them. That's another issue. But I do think he's electrifyingly good for the Championship. He just needs to run the games to get that consistency in the Premier League. Yeah,
well, his record in the Championship speaks for itself. And I like the fact that you still think Chris Wood would be here if we got relegated.
I'd like to think it, but...
As much as I like Woody, I think he deserves better than Championship football. Again, that's why he left Leeds United to come to Burnley. I think he'd be off. And I don't mean that in a negative way if he don't care. Or I just think a Premier League club would snap him up pretty much instantly.
I'd like to think so.
In the Championship. Jay and Vidra up top would be class in the Championship. And
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think get it signed on. Stop delaying the problem.
Anyway, negative talk because they're not going to be in the Championship. So we'll move on. Like I said, Pitch Sports, I just want to quickly mention, it is at the bottom of your screen. I am going to be uploading the video. I haven't exactly decided what I want to ask you all. It's going to be something about the win and where you think we go from here. Can we get any points in the next few games, that sort of thing? Because everyone knows we've got a bit of a tough run coming up. I think it's City, Arsenal and Everton. It might not necessarily be in that order. I know it's City next. I know that much. But yeah, it's going to be one of them instead of sort of like saying, oh, we shit. Do you all think we're going down like I've had to ask for the last few weeks? So pause the podcast if you want. Have a look, see if it's there. I'm going to be sending the video off. They don't always do it instantaneously, so it might not be there yet. But hopefully during the day on Thursday, the good guys at Pitch that work very hard behind the scenes will put the video up sometime soon. So if it's not there when you're looking now or you've just looked or whatever, please go and check again later today.
City at home. City at home, Everton at home, but then we've got Arsenal and Villa away. So I think if you look at them 4 games, that's probably a realistic sort of point prediction because obviously you can never tell what. So it's an unfair one, City, isn't it? Because every team looks at that beginning of the season and takes that as a hit at our stature anyway. So yeah, Villa away. I know they've had a good start, but they've hit a dip. You've got Everton at home. Who's that away? Sorry, Everton away. No, Arsenal was away, wasn't it? So you got Arsenal away, Everton at home. Everton at home should be a normal season. You should be looking at trying to get 3 points against Everton. Again,
not a normal season, yeah, but this season now they've got Ancelotti and some cracking players, and obviously we've had the poor start. I think that's probably one of the ones I'm most worried about at the minute. Obviously, City, you just forget City. I think Arsenal we could probably nick something against. I don't really rate them, but I say that every time going into Arsenal games, and we never seem to beat them. And Villa, they're shite now. They started really, really well, but for some reason they've just gone off the boil. Who were it just beaten? Brighton. I think it was Brighton, weren't it? Brighton just beat them 1-0 at Villa Park. Yeah. So if Brighton can win,
I think he got sent off, didn't he? Right back.
Cash.
No, for Brighton.
Oh, sorry, Lamptey.
Lamptey, that's what I'm calling 10 teammates. Lamptey, yeah.
Apparently, he lamped him. I'll move on quickly. Man City game. Normally, obviously, I will have hopefully a Man City fan on the pre-game show. I haven't recorded it yet. I'm going to be brutally honest with you all. I haven't even asked a City fan yet. That's because they're playing tonight at the time of recording this. They're playing Olympiacos tonight. So I wanted to wait until after that before I start asking a City fan if they want to come on the show. So if you do want to hear the views of a City fan from City Extra podcast or Blue Moon podcast or whatever, please keep your eyes peeled on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page. And if you haven't already, please do go and subscribe to the YouTube channel. I think we're on about 180 subscribers now, so we're only 20 away from 200. So if you haven't listened, if you haven't been listening to this for a while and you've watched a few YouTube videos, go and subscribe. Try and get us over that 200 mark, and I'll be really, really forever your best friend. But yeah, the Man City game. Let's have a look at it because it's one of them in it. Man City, we are shambles against them. Let's just go back to when we last beat them. So the 14th of March 2015, which was the George Boyd game. We won that game 1-0.
Joe,
26th of November 2016, lost 2-1 against them. Then 2017, lost 2-1 against them. That's not too bad, that. I'll take that. Then 2017, lost 3-0. 2018, lost 4-1. Then we drew against them on the 20th of Feb. The 3rd of Feb 2018. Was that Goodmanson? Who scored in that game? Let's have a look. I don't even remember that game. I've totally just blanked it out my head. Oh, I've clicked on
it. But like you said, it's one of them. City should, with respect to Burnley, absolutely tear us apart. So should Arsenal, but Arsenal are in the bottom half of the Premier League at the minute. So
in the last 6 games that we played against Man City, 3 of them have finished 5-0 to City. So 50% of our last 6 games against Man City have finished 5-0 to Man City. And one of them was 4-1. So they scored.
So if you go to williamhill.com and put in more than 3.5 goals, you're pretty much guaranteed.
Yeah, well, basically, and they've obviously already beaten us this season. They beat us 3-0 in the Carabao Cup. So they've already had the joy against us this season. And we're probably going to play them in the FA Cup as well later on in the season, because we always do. I'm sure they'll beat us in that. But they're not that good this season. So are we going into this with some positive attitude, or are we going into this thinking, let's just get out of the way, 5-0, whatever, we'll take it. We always get fucking outclassed. I know I said something else by City. Let's just move on.
Do you know what, right? There's 2 ways you can look at it. History says that we're going to concede 4 goals at least. This season, I think they've had the 3rd most shots in the Premier League, and they are 14th in goals scored in the Premier League.
So they're not prolific.
So they're hitting it a lot, but they ain't going nowhere. And obviously we are sort of wall that is being created in the last 2 games. If we can consistently sort of take that forward, like I hope we can in the future, I wouldn't have expected it against City, but just looking at stats like that, this is the type of test to sort of prove ourselves again and keep moving forward, because yes, they are shooting, but they ain't scoring. It's just what can we do on the counter?
And I think they're all rapid. Yeah, they are rapid. I think part of the reason why City aren't as prolific at the minute is Aguero's injury. Now, I've not followed it up since I last saw it, but I saw something on social media 2 or 3 days ago that said his first game back in typical Burnley fashion will be against Burnley. So then, obviously, we've got that to contend with.
Yeah, I mean, if he's not playing and them stats are as they are with the team that they currently got, who knows, mate, because the defence has sort of sorted itself out a bit now. We just need to make sure we take his chances, because 3 chances against Palace and only one, major chances, and only one was taken.
Yeah, it's one of them, though. Do you think we can get the win then? Because it's a weird... I always go into games thinking, you know what, anything can happen. But I think with the City games these days, they've just been that prolific against us and just swept us aside with ease on so many different occasions that this is probably the only game now where I just think, forget it, just write it off.
True, but if you're asking me the question, do I think we can do it? My answer, to be sort of frank about it, is there's no better time to try. And let's see what happens, because they're not scoring at the minute, and fingers crossed that continues after the weekend, mate.
So predictions then for the Man City Burnley game.
Again, if we're going to win, I'm going to predict a 1-0 win.
If we register a 0 against City, then something's seriously wrong at that football club.
I was going to say, if we're going to win, I think it'll be 1-0. I'm going to take a 1-1 right now.
Oh, I would literally rip your leg off for that. I don't know why I said leg instead of
mate, it's halfway there.
I won't have to do much, would I? I'd rip pretty much majority of your limbs off for that. I don't know. I don't think they're gonna smash us as much as they usually do. They're not as good this season. I'm a little bit pissed off about that because I put them on my bet to win the Premier League. That's not happening. I also put Bradford to get promoted, by the way, and they're 20th in League 2. I know. And I tell you why, it's ever since I've left. I've left shit.
Morale.
It is. Morale of having a cracking lad around. That's what it is. That's what it is. I'm gonna go 3-1 City. I just can't see us getting anything. But yeah, that's it. Oh, I'm gonna do it to you on the podcast again, only because it's the only time I ever remember. Saturday. I think I'm working. I don't know. I can't remember. Are you free or not? I might be off, actually.
Excuse me. What time's kick off? 3?
I think it is. I thought the Palace game at 3 o'clock. Right, well, we should be all right for a watch-along then, because I think I can do it. Only problem is it's fucking sod's law, innit? We haven't done one for ages. Burnley win a game, then the first one, well, if I ain't done one for ages, Burnley win a game when none of us can do it. I come back with a fucking City 5-0 drubbing. Then I get loads of Blackburn fans in the comments again going, "Hooray!" Loads of City fans in the comments again going, "Hooray!" I just, can't be arsed. But fingers crossed. Me and Simon are obviously available.
Some sort of way. Can you hear me still? Because I've lost your sound. Just
I can hear you, yes.
What I'm going to do is just click on this, and then go Mac speakers.
Right, so while Simon does that, I'll just carry on. There you go, about the match. So, yeah, what are you doing in terms of lineup then? Exactly the same?
Yeah, 100%. I've said it the last game. If I'm going to see anyone change, I wanted it to be sort of Jay or Barnes. I didn't really mind which one started, I said last week. But now we can't change it. We couldn't change it last week on the defensive side, and I'm saying now we can't change it on the attacking side as well. So perfect fit at the minute.
I'd agree with that. Same for me. But that's it then, unless there's anything you want to add.
No, mate, all good. Thank you very much.
No, thanks for coming on. Again, if you want to see more of the City preview, we'll be having the pre-game show. Hopefully streaming it Friday night. If not, it'll be Saturday morning. Hopefully I'll get a City fan to come on. I know sometimes I have struggled. I haven't actually asked anybody yet, as I've just mentioned, but I will be doing it on Thursday morning. I'll be sending the messages out. So hopefully we can get somebody tied up, and hopefully I can get something recorded and get it out for all you lovely, lovely people. And as mentioned, if you do want to be involved in the fan reaction show, because we did only have a few this week, 4 if you include Joshua Hoare. Again, apologies for Joshua if I've got your name horrendously wrong there. So there'll be 4 audios that you will have heard, but there's only 3 available on the actual watch-along show. Obviously, that's why I put myself on it. So please, if you want to be involved, please get involved. The more the merrier. And yeah, well, that's it then from me. That's it from Simon. Thank you for watching. We'll see you for the pre-game show. If you don't fancy the pre-game show, we'll see you for the watch-along. If you don't fancy the watch-along, we'll see you for the fan reaction. If you don't fancy that, we'll see you for the podcast next Thursday.